The podcast you're about to hear involves true stories, which may contain graphic content that is not suitable for children. Listener's discretion is advised. This is Esoteric Oddities.
Hey
guys. Oh, that was in sync. Was that
In
really loud?
sync. No, it's fine. How's it going? Did you answer us? Because we can't hear you.
Why do we always do that?
I don't
we always
know.
expect answers. It's
I always
fine.
expect answers. Because I'm an American millennial. So, Anna Ferris liked our tweet on Twitter. That was
we're
fun.
Like really coming up in the world, guys.
Yeah, we're kind of, I guess.
You better get your autographs now.
You can say, or friends. I mean, first Dolly Parton, now Anna Ferris. It's just, I think
thing with celebrities.
Nicolas Cage is next.
Oh.
So something weird happened to me. I ordered a package all the way from Thailand. It's taxidermied insects that are in a frame because why not? They try to deliver it to my parents' house for some reason. They leave a note. My mom texts me and she's just like, hey, someone tried to leave a package and for some reason they like need someone to sign for it. I was like, okay, cool. That was last week. So fast forward to yesterday and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of pushing it. It's been a week. I should probably go to the post office. I go to the post office on my lunch break and I tell them I tried to have it redelivered, but the code I was using online wasn't working, blah, blah, blah. And the lady's like, okay, well, let me see if it's here. She goes in the back, comes back. They have my package there. Awesome. Fantastic.
Amazing.
So I take it home. I get a text today from my mom and she sends a final notice that was left on their door that says that I have a package from Thailand that tried to be delivered today.
What's up with that?
I don't know what this ghost package is, but I only ordered like one.
I mean, you did order 2 PDF books.
Okay. Hey, listen. Okay. I was trying to be a good friend and I bought myself a book and I tried to buy Sarah a book.
He's the bestest best friend.
But not thinking that it's a fucking PDF. So I just needed to buy one and I could send it to her. So the person emails me and is just like, here are your 2 PDFs. And they literally attached the same file twice because I'm a dingus.
They were definitely throwing shade.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what were they going to do? They just probably didn't want to explain it to a young millennial like myself. Well, hi guys, this is Esoteric Oddities. That's Sarah.
I'm Jonathan.
Oh,
Oh.
identity crisis. And crispy chairs. You hear this?
Oh, mine's not doing that. Only yours.
It's my thick thighs.
So today I'm at work. We have like 3 locations in Philadelphia.
Oh God, does this have to do with thick thighs?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I used to work with this. He's like maintenance. He like picks up the trash, blah blah blah, at one center. So today I had to go back there to have a meeting, whatever. And he's like, "You look like you gained weight."
Sir,
Like,
I
okay.
cannot. Remember when somebody did that to me?
I remember that. I cried in the bathroom.
Let's switch. I'm gonna beat him up.
I was like, okay.
Who says that?
Like, it's inevitable. Everyone sees it. Just no one talks about it.
I don't think you gained weight.
I literally gained 10 pounds.
I know,
So
but
fine.
it's okay.
Whatever. But like, why
Who
would you say
fucking
that?
says that? Don't fucking say
I'm
that.
saying. So, if any men are listening, please do not say anything about a woman's weight.
Also, let's just open up the floodgates because I had a woman tell me that I gained weight. She told me.
Okay, yeah,
remember,
that was
she
really
was like,
sexist.
She
for me
said,
to be like, "Man."
no, it's okay. But she said, oh, yeah, you used to be thinner, right? Like, I remember you. You're just big now. And I'm like, oh, ha.
Like, I don't even notice.
I had a
I
hoagie
don't
in my
see
hand,
anything.
too. I also haven't seen her since, like, my cocaine binging days. So
There's that.
there's
Wow.
that. Well, hey, guys, it is the month of October. And that means
Your parents listen to this.
that means your parents listen to this.
My mom listens to this. You guys know how not safe for work I am.
NSFW.
We
You
love
guys, we are reading your ghost stories to you, and we have a guest coming on today who's got some. I haven't heard them yet, but he's told me they're pretty crazy stories. So let's read some of your stories first.
What if they're not crazy?
All right, so this story is called Paranormal Shadow in Colorado.
Ooh.
The person who sent it wants to remain anonymous, but they are living in Korea. So before I start my story, I'd like to say that all of this happened after my attic door, and then in parentheticals it says, in a garage, and a thick square sheet of drywall that covered the hole in the ceiling fell. All right, so off to a good start. Once there was a gaping hole that led into the attic, things started happening. When I was 9 years old, I lived with my dad, stepmom, stepsister, and 2 stepbrothers in a house in Colorado. It was summer when we decided to turn my bunk bed into a tent. We elaborately drooped blankets from the top bunk so they would create a veil around the bottom bunk. My stepsister brought her twin-sized bed into my room and we set it up in a corner. For the next few nights, we rotated. My stepbrother slept in the makeshift tent at night, then my stepsister on the second night, and myself on the third. The night that it was my turn to sleep in the tent, my stepsister was in her bed and my stepbrother slept on the floor. We had a really old TV that had a bright green digital clock that acted as a nightlight. That night, we got ready for bed as usual. We raced to our spots, and whoever was under the blankets last had to turn the lights off as punishment. My stepbrother was last, and once he turned out the lights, I fell soundly asleep. As cliche as it sounds, I vividly remember waking up just before 3 a.m. The clock read 2:37. I was sleeping on my stomach, and I could see the clock, but something didn't feel right. My body felt extremely heavy. I couldn't move any part of my body except for my eyes. I lie for a few moments in a gaze when something caught the corner of my eye. The door was already cracked open, but it opened just a little bit more and I saw a shadowy figure enter the room. It stood in the doorway for a brief moment, then made its ways toward my step-siblings and me. My heart began to race because I couldn't make out who it was. On top of not being able to move, I couldn't make a sound. I thought maybe my stepmom was checking on us before she left for work. She worked in a prison, so her hours were crazy like that. The odd thing was, though, for it to be my stepmom in a uniform with her utility belt and boots, she was dead silent. The shadow walked halfway across the room, bent down to my stepbrother, stood up, then slowly turned around and walked out of the room. As soon as it left, the weight on my body disappeared, and my days ended. I oddly rolled back over and fell asleep without realizing it. The next morning, I told my step-siblings what had happened, and oddly enough, my stepsister said she saw the exact same thing I saw and experienced the same sensation of being unable to move or speak until the shadow left. When our parents got home from work, we bombarded them with questions. What time did you go to work? Did you come and check on us? Both my dad and stepmom looked at us oddly and said, no, why? A few weeks later, our 2 neighbors came over and helped us clean, which was an excuse to have guests over while our parents were at work. While we were cleaning, however, my neighbor said she saw a shadowy person in the garage that looked like they were holding a knife. She was a prankster, so I didn't believe her at first. Either way, we all went downstairs to the living room because we were spooked. The 5 of us sat together talking when suddenly we heard heavy footsteps upstairs run from one end of the house to the other. We immediately fell silent and ran upstairs to catch the predator of this prank. But to our dismay, no one was there and the doors were locked.
Of course not.
When we went back downstairs, we waited for my mom to get home. When she arrived, we didn't tell her what happened. A few years passed, and in our new house, I was talking to my stepmom about her childhood. I don't remember how, but spirits and ghosts came up. My stepmom is from Senegal, and apparently, when she was a child, her family was tormented by spirits often. One spirit she specifically remembers was a tall man with an overcoat and hat who would watch her and her siblings when they fell asleep from closet shutters. When they had to lie down for bed, the spirit would bang on the closet shutters violently. Their mom thought it was the kids playing a trick on them, till one night she was fed up and went to catch them in the act. When she turned on the hallway light, she saw a tall man in a hat staring at her. She immediately said a prayer and the spirit disappeared. Later, things got so bad to the point where a witch doctor told them to walk into their house backwards so the spirit could not jump onto their backs while they entered their home. Did something follow my stepmom all these years? I don't know, and I definitely don't want to find out. At first I was thinking, oh my God, maybe this is like sleep paralysis, but that sounds like a little bit more than sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I don't think things bang and make noise.
True, so but I mean like this, the person who submitted this and their step siblings were, feeling the same thing.
Right.
That is crazy and scary. My thing is like, if you're all sitting downstairs and you hear people like stomping upstairs, running from one side of the house to the other, I would not be going upstairs. I would be going to the front yard. I would call.
I'm saying, even her stepmom, I would not check anything.
No.
I'd be like, oh my God, this is violent. The banging is violent. I'm just going to stay right here.
No, if I was a stepmom, I would check on it, especially if there are kids in the room.
That's true.
If they were like fucking around, I'd be like, hey, stop fucking around.
Well, I would say like, hey, stop.
But then it didn't stop.
But then that's when I would know I don't want to get up.
Yeah, but like if you got kids, it's
spooky.
different.
That's true.
Because it could not be like a ghost. But
like
even if it is, you kind of
pesky
go into
kids.
like mommy mode. So I've heard.
Oh,
You got a spooky story?
yeah. So, this is a ghost story from Carlos.
Thanks, Carlos.
A couple years ago, 2016, I was going home from university when I get a call from my best friend Mark, who has been staying at his aunt's place, which is like 2 blocks away from my place, for a couple of days. So when I say things like that, it's in parentheses.
Okay.
There's a lot of parentheses in here,
Love
so
a
I don't want to keep
parenthetical.
saying parentheses.
That's fine.
And Mark says, bro, you have to get here right now. There's some weird shit going on. Some stuff is getting moved around the house. He had a mixture of excitement and actual fear in his voice, so I was like, WTF? I asked what did he mean by stuff getting moved, and he says, things are actually moving on their own, man. My aunt is freaking out. Obviously, I replied and said, I'll be right there, man. Now let's give some context to this. At this time, I was living in Venezuela, a country consumed by yet another try of communism. So as many people my age do, my plan was to finish my degree and get the fuck out of there in order to live a good, safe, economically stable, Marxism-free life. And he's 24. But a thing most people don't know about my country is that Santeria and black magic in general is big there. And by big, I mean that there are festivals dedicated to that shit. Going to see a witch is as common as going to see a doctor there. And even a new religion growing super fast, cult of Maria Lanza too, which is based on spiritism. Some good, some bad. There's also to be noted that my friend and I have always been really interested in paranormal subject. We love hearing stories and whatnot, but we had never experienced one ourselves. So when my friend called, the only thing on my mind was a real paranormal experience, like Sam and Dean. You don't know who that is?
Supernatural.
Yeah. In the 20-minute drive between school and Mark's aunt's house, I was getting ready for some The Conjuring style shit. I have a cross pendant. I believe in God, but I'm not religious, much less Catholic, but from the stories you hear living there, you learn to keep some symbolic stuff around, just in case. I have a small Bible that some Jehovah's Witness gave me once at the university, and I kept, because what the hell, you never know when you're going to need wrapping paper. I have a japa mala, supposedly filled with good vibes or some shit, a rosary, and some little stamps of the reliable Archangel Michael. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, the guy exists. And of course, I have my phone ready to record some real paranormal activity so I can brag about it to other people. As I reach the aunt's place, I call Mark and he was like, fuck man, what took you so long? You have to see this shit. I'll be right there to let you up. So he comes down to get me, and man, the look on his face. Mark is a really funny guy who everyone likes and is not easily scared. And when I saw him, he had a mixture of having a blast / scared as fuck expression on his face that is hard to describe. And he was also sweating cold. I knew shit was real. All the way up in the elevator, he's telling me what was going on with such a hurry and such excitement that he barely made sense. Mark had been staying at his aunt's, let's call her Mary, for the last couple of days, and this last day he had come back from this cooking class to find his aunt and his little cousin, let's call him Ricky, and he was around 9 at the time, scared shitless in the living room. While Aunt Mary was scared, Ricky was having fun somehow. And apparently Ricky had been playing in the living room and he was knocking down 3 cushion-like dolls. I don't know why ghosts have a fetish with dolls, but moving on. Aunt Mary had there on the top of the couch as he was playing around or something. At one point, he started telling Aunt Mary to stop putting the dolls back up because he was getting pissed that he had to knock them down again and again. Thing is, Aunt Mary had not been putting the dolls back up, as she says she was busy cooking. Ricky thought she was teasing him and he keeps telling her to stop. At this point, Aunt Mary suspects some weird shit is going down. But she's a really nervous woman and decides to ignore it since she believes that if you just ignore it, the ghost or whatever will stop doing shit and leave. She tells Ricky to stop saying stupid shit and go to his room and play. Little Ricky decides to prove his mother that he's not imagining things and tells her to follow him and see for herself. And she does reluctantly. Ricky proceeds to knock down the dolls and then leads his mom to his room, from where he can peek out of the room entrance and look at the living room. So he makes Aunt Mary peek out, and she sees the dolls still on the floor and says, "See, nothing is happening." Ricky, as the little relentless fucker that he is, doesn't give up and tells his mom to wait 10 seconds and then peek out again. Aunt Mary counts to 10 seconds, and when she peeks out, she lets out a very Latina mother expression. Ave Maria Purísima. As it turns out, the dolls were back on the top of the couch. Some 30 minutes pass, and this is where Mark gets back to his aunt's place from class, and Ricky starts telling him stories, much to Aunt Mary's objections.
That's crazy that my cousin's name is Mark and Ricky.
I'm saying I thought about that too. Mark, seeing that his aunt is really nervous and is eager for them to ignore that shit and just forget it ever happened, obviously decides to do the knock down and peek out experiment Ricky had been doing, and he said he just couldn't believe it when he saw it happening. He was beyond excited, so they kept doing that shit a few more times, and then he decided to call me to go over there and check it out. It is important to note that even though I always wanted to have a paranormal experience, I was and still am very cautious when it comes to this kind of thing, and I take it seriously. Bearing that in mind, I carry my cross pendant in one hand, wrapped in the rosary I had around my other hand, as to make a brass knuckle. And yes, it sounds weird, but I had to be ready in case we had to Constantine the shit out of some Casper-looking motherfucker, so it seemed appropriate. When we arrived at the apartment, I saw Aunt Mary very stressed, but Ricky, on the other hand, was grabbing my hand and showing me the dolls in no time. Like that was the best Mario Kart game he had ever played in his life. I looked at the dolls, and they were pretty normal. Not your standard creepy dolls, just some normal-looking Venezuelan folk-inspired dolls. I tell Mark that of course he has to show me what is going on, but that we need to record everything as to see how it happens, and to have proof. So we both set our phones on the table looking directly at the dolls, and Ricky insists on using his Nintendo DS to record it too. The Nintendo only recorded audio, but he still placed it right next to our phones. Showtime. Mark puts the dolls carefully on the floor. We check the devices are recording, and then we all go to the room. I was looking back all the way as to make sure the dolls were not moving. When we got to the room, we started the experiment. Ricky peeked out almost immediately, and he was disillusioned. The dolls were still down. We count to 10, and we all peek at the same time, our heads all peeking out, one on top of the other, and nothing. I could see the dolls still laying on the floor. We decided to wait another 10 seconds and repeat. So we do, and still nothing. We decided to wait almost a whole minute before peeking out again, and when we did, the dolls were on top of the couch, in the same order they had been before we took them down. I remember the excitement I felt was something pretty similar to when I had my Nintendo 64 on Christmas. Having witnessed some unexplainable activity right next to me, I just couldn't believe it. Right after we saw that, Mark and I went straight to our phones to check how it happened. As I grabbed my phone, the first thing I noticed was that the home screen was showing. I checked the gallery and see nothing had been recorded. I immediately tried to remember if I had actually put the video camera to work and everything, but then Mark said, "Bro, my phone didn't record anything." And I told him mine hadn't either, and we just stood there confused. As we were standing there trying to figure out what went wrong, Ricky had taken his Nintendo DS and was listening to something, grabbing it like you would grab a phone to listen to a voice note. At some point, Ricky screamed, "Listen, listen, Mom!" looking actually scared for the first time. Mark immediately grabbed the DS and listened to the playback of the recording. His eyes going wide, I remember urging him to let me listen, and he put it on speaker. I don't really know how DS works, and man, I never forget what I heard coming out of that little device. There were two distinctive voices, speaking in Spanish, arguing or fighting over something. But there were two things to be noted with these voicemails. First, they were from Venezuelan gangbangers, the kind of Spanish you could hear in the favelas of Caracas. Second, most of their phrases ended or had in-between sounds of what could only be described as speaking evil wail. We couldn't understand over 75% of what they were saying. I'll put an example with a couple of real phrases we caught. And then this is in Spanish, and I don't want to butcher it.
It's okay.
So, there are some phrases in English, and it says, "They are recording us. They are recording us."
No.
And then, you motherfucker, you left me alone. You left me alone. Ha ha ha, you'll see us when you want to see us. Imagine hearing that through the speaker of this Nintendo DS, and not only that, but the anger that was felt in those voices. By this point, we were kind of in shock, but we did not stop after that. We conducted the experiment some 5 more times, and each of those times the phones would still go to the home screen and not record anything except for the DS. We recorded with our phones over the recording of the DS, so we ended up having around 6 recordings of some seriously angry ghosts filtered by the Nintendo DS. Now for some hardcore classic ghost doll stuff. At one point, Ricky's father came home and found us in the living room listening to the stuff and asked what was going on. Aunt Mary told him about the 3 dolls, and after she was finished, his dad said there were only 2 dolls there on the ground. Mark and I looked again, and he was right. There were only 2. At this point, we all started going crazy, looking all over the place for the missing doll. Mark and I checking the living room, Mark's dad and Ricky in the bedrooms, and Aunt Mary in the kitchen. A few seconds later, we hear Aunt Mary scream, "My God, ah!" We went straight to the kitchen and found Aunt Mary kneeled on the floor praying while grabbing her head with both hands. We saw the 3rd doll. It was on top of the fridge. And I kid you not, it was positioned as if it was staring at us. Before we could even react, the doll flew across the kitchen and out of the living room. It did not levitate or anything. The fucking doll flew high speed into the living room, where we just found it on the floor. Mark's dad and Ricky were just paralyzed there as if they were going into the kitchen. What followed next was a mixture of praying, holy water showers, and the conversation of that living room into a mausoleum to Archangel Michael and the Virgin Mary. We did not dare try an experiment again that night, and I decided to leave so the family could rest. Mark said he was not going to stay in that house that night, so he went to my house, where I proceeded to tell the story to my family. My dad paid no mind, but my sister got really scared and said we should delete everything. Mark and I thought about it, but there was no way we were going to destroy the evidence. We needed the proof to show everyone. But after listening to the recordings again, the serious shit that was being said there, we decided to erase it all but one of the recordings, mostly because we didn't want to have some bad vibes on our phones, but partly because the voices were really dark and they kind of affected us. When we went to bed later that night, I had a dream. In this dream, I was walking really fast around my house, really fast, and I was just going everywhere without a real objective. At one point, I decided to look at my feet, and I realized that I had no feet. I was floating, and my hands were really pressed to the sides of my body, so I could not see them. As I was doing this Lord Voldemort impression, I realized I'm heading straight to my room, and I start feeling angry. I see the door to my room close, and I opened it. I saw Mark and I sleeping on the bed. I remember Mark had his hands over his face like he was wasted and tired of life, with one of his feet poking out of the covers. I saw myself next to him, sleeping all regular and manly, and suddenly I feel this anger build up, real fast, real strong. It was not just anger, it was an intense hatred, like Anakin when he yelled, "I hate you," to Obi-Wan Kenobi before jumping and getting sushi'd. Then I feel my hands from my standing self moving and raised so I could see them. At this point I realized that it is not me who was floating all around the house, but that I was merely looking through the eyes of this thing, having no real control of that body. I knew this because the hands that I can now see were not my hands. They were horrible, putrid hands, like the hands from the evil girl in The Ring that really needed a hairdryer. The next thing I know, this thing grabbed my feet and it shook them so hard that I woke up in real life. I remember sitting on my bed in silence, scared as fuck, looking out the door of my room, which was open now. My feet barred and out of the covers, not quite understanding what the fuck had happened. I turned to Mark to wake him up, and I saw that his arms were covering his face, like in my dream. I looked at his feet and saw that one was poking out of the covers. I was on the brink of screaming like a little girl who had just been told that Peppa Pig had been canceled. But I instead manned up, woke Mark up, and told him. Then we proceeded to not sleep for the rest of the night. And that is, Carlos' story.
Oh, that's horrifying. I want to know what the dolls look like.
Right. I want to know. Apparently, there's supposed to be a part 2 and part 3, so I hope that it
hit
gets
us with that
released at some
email,
point.
Carlos. Jesus
Please.
Christ. Well, our guest is patiently waiting outside of the door for us to deliver him a beer. So
Let's do this.
Let's introduce our guest, Nelson Vicens. And we are here with Nelson Vicens.
That's me.
Hey, Nelson.
Hey,
how you doing?
Nelson.
Hey, this is an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for
guys.
being
You're
here. Talk a
welcome.
little bit closer to your mic.
okay,
There
here.
you go.
Hold on, I'm gonna fix this little thing. Yeah. Oh, I'm getting nice and close. You like that?
Oh my God.
Okay, there we go.
Keep going.
So,
Okay.
before we jump into your scary stories that you have for us,
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wanted to talk about a little bit how we met.
Right, another scary story.
It was a scary story because I was actually I was ADing on a film where the day before I sent out a call sheet. For those of you guys who don't know,
Oh, yeah.
a call sheet is basically something that an assistant director or a second assistant director sends out to the entire casting crew, and it has like everybody's call times on it, lots of details of when like you're gonna lunch and
Has
stuff.
the weather on it.
It's got the weather, sunrise,
Nearest
sunset,
Love that.
and props. So like any props or like special effects and stuff that we're gonna need. So I was actually working on this was before I met Nelson. I was on. You were. What were you doing on that?
DPing.
Okay.
Yeah.
People don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Direct-
Because people even think
double
that means
penetration.
Double penetration. Right.
Yes.
He was
Yeah.
basically the camera guy, and this
Yeah.
was not.
Whoa,
a
whoa!
porno.
Basically, the camera guy. That just demeaned my entire role in the film.
Well, then tell them what it
Yes.
really means.
I was in charge of the picture, the way it looked, and also the camera angles, and a lot of things. It was
So-
a big baby.
So basically, I sent the call sheet to you and the director, and the day before I was working on a different film, and we literally had a funeral scene. So I was sending you. Do you remember this?
Oh, of course I remember this.
So I sent it to you, and it said like we needed pallbearers and we needed like a
Did you
casket.
send them the wrong one?
Yes, I did.
The wrong
Because it
one.
was for the different movie that I was working on at
right.
the same time. So I
Yeah,
learned my
hell of a first
lesson.
impression.
Learned my lesson not to
Double
work
book.
on two films around the same time. So haven't made that mistake.
No, you can do that. Just don't fuck up with the call sheets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
But
fine.
they were
You're doing
labeled.
great.
They were labeled with the same date. This was also like 2013.
Yeah, this was a while
okay.
ago.
He was a newbie.
Nobody
was a
knew what they were
newbie.
doing.
I still don't.
I was a little
There's that.
worried though, because that's when I saw that I was like, this guy is gonna be our AD.
And I hadn't even met you before, so it
Yeah.
wasn't even like we had like a.
What was it? It was a spicy email I sent you.
Ooh, I want to know what it says.
Wasn't it? An
No,
email?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember. I think Jared sent something to me.
Oh, and I worded it. All I remember
John,
was Jared was
please
like, "You do
ensure-
it, Nelson."
Oh god.
Like it's not. I was like, it's not mean enough. Hold on.
Yeah.
Me.
And I was like, oh shit. So now I double check everything, even if it's not on film sets. Double check your emails,
Gotta
people.
double
Double
check.
check your
And
attachments.
don't put I always learn not to put the 2 there until you're done with your email, just in case you send something by accident.
Oh, that's a great idea.
The two what? Like addressing the person?
Yeah, don't send it until you're done with the email.
I love that.
Because sometimes
Oh,
I'll
oh, oh,
literally
oh.
start emails like,
Right.
you're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, just trying to vent, and then I
And then you delete it. Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. That is an episode of That's a Raven, if you remember.
I'm not a Disney man.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
God. Well, you knew it was Disney. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
you got some stories for us?
Oh shit! My stories are gonna be fun because they all take place in Puerto Rico.
That's where your
Wow.
family's from, correct?
That's where my family is from, and where
Can
they
you say something in Spanish?
live. Quizá ahorita.
I love that.
But so okay, let's see. The first one. Okay, I have them written down here.
Did you feed those turtles, Nelson? Because they're going crazy right now.
No, I gave them some loving though. I touched their
Do you hear them? They're like going nuts.
That one loves me.
Yeah, I know. You tell me every day.
Okay,
Well-
I got one.
All right, take us there.
Okay, so this one I'm gonna say is the first one because
Okay.
it's it's not that scary.
Okay.
Okay, and it's not involving anybody directly that I know.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But this is there's this river named Cabo Rojo in Puerto Rico, and it's kind of like this or actually no, this is a different one. This is Toro Negro. Sorry, I'm mixing up the rivers. But this river is this long river that goes by my grandfather's house, and it's like winding through the mountains and stuff. And the story goes that there was one night 3 people, and they were fishing, 3 fishermen on a boat. And they're fishing, and they're chilling, and they're fishing for so long that they run out of light. and they don't know how to make a fire anymore. So they were like, okay, what do we have? What can we like make?
Why
a fire
did they
out of?
forget how to make a fire?
Well, they just don't have any more wood.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
No, they know how to make a fire, but they don't have the ingredients.
Right.
And
need those ingredients.
yeah, and to cook the fish and everything. So all so they all that they had that was good wood was the cross that they had on the boat.
Oh no.
So they were like, all right, we'll dismantle the cross and burn it.
God, no.
Yeah. So, long story short, and this is what they used as a torch to see. And long story short, what ended up happening was that now that I'm telling the story, I'm realizing I forget exactly what led them. Did they die? Was there a death involved? Listen, long story short, their spirits have been left to like comb through the river to find every single piece of ash from this cross that they burned before they can go to heaven.
I feel like you are leaving out a real big chunk there that
what
I need.
happened? That went 0 to 100.
Yeah, did they make a deal? I'm not so sure. I feel
You're
bad. I
asking
should have
us?
checked with my mom, double checked, but I forgot. But no, I see the reason why I know this tale is because there's a river down like in Puerto Rico, everybody lives in mountains, or at least in the mountainous area where my family's from.
Right.
And you look down and you can often see a river at the end of these mountains, right? And so there was this big river at the end of the mountain, and at night there's always these 3 lights. And I remember asking my mom, like, what are these 3 lights? What's good with that? And then she told me this tale of these fishermen who burned the cross and then have been left to try and find these ashes for the rest of their lives. I don't know if they made a deal. I don't know if they died. I think
It sounds like
They made a deal. I had to because it's just really weird that they took a cross and now all of a sudden shit is like taboo.
Well, first of all, everybody knows not to burn a cross, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I've
You
heard
don't burn
that.
the cross. You don't burn the flag. Those are the rules.
So what were the
didn't
3
make them
lights
up.
then? Were they actually something and your mom was just like
Honestly,
trying to scare you?
Of all these stories, which are pretty ridiculous, I'm about to tell you, and I don't know exactly where they lie in terms of truth because it's hard to believe. This is the one where, like, I've actually seen these lights, and
Yeah.
there's always 3, and I don't know what's good with them.
They were probably literally street lights.
No, they weren't because they move.
Cell phone towers.
And there's no. This is the forest, okay, dog?
They
We're in
have
the jungle. We're in the mountains, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about, Willis?
They have those cell phone towers that are like disguised as trees.
Yeah, and they like sway and stuff.
Yeah, and they don't.
I know. I was being sarcastic. Because you said, were they moving?
Fuck you.
Well, they move a lot, though.
Ooh.
I don't know what it is.
Spooky.
So do
Ooh.
you believe it?
Do I believe it?
Yeah,
Well, no, but it's a good theory.
it is. I believe it.
I don't have any
believe
better.
it. I believe in ghosts.
Here's the thing. I don't really believe in most things.
I don't believe in you.
Oh,
That's
that was
fair.
mean.
Also, really quick.
What is you? What is me? Who are we?
So hold on, wait, hold on. If this story is true, who would be telling it if all of them died?
Their family.
Yeah, but how would they know? Like verbatim that they burned a cross.
Maybe they went home and they told her, "Oh, honey, we ran out of the flashlight."
And then they died?
And then they died like of old age, living happily. Maybe there was only 1 light at one point, and then
Okay.
maybe there was 2 lights, and then the last guy died and there was 3 lights.
Okay,
And if
I'll
you
buy
burn a
that.
cross, it's gonna be 4 lights.
Yeah.
Oh,
Seriously.
don't do it.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Relax.
Don't.
But they're actually talking about putting a road near that area, and so if they put a road there, then I wonder if the lights will disappear
That's creepy.
because now society has reached the river.
Wow, that's a little too deep. That's too deep
Wow.
for this podcast. Quick question: Do you think your house is haunted?
My house?
Yeah.
I've had theories.
Oh,
There
what
was
about
one
that?
time when we were filming in your house, and I had to lay in that room with your mom's dolls,
Oh, no.
and they were all staring at me.
Oh, no.
And I had to like duck down on the floor because you guys were filming in the hallway, but I was in the dark.
No.
It didn't
Which
feel good that
movie
day.
was this?
Candy.
Oh my god! First of all, I'm sorry for that nightmare.
No, I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I actually that room. I don't think that room's haunted. It's the attic.
Oh.
Oh, I've never been to your attic.
Yeah. Well, it could just
Now
be
he's
animals.
going to go there.
It's probably just animals. But
Probably.
I've heard noises. I've heard things like,
Shit.
sorry.
Oh, that's a squirrel. That's the squirrel
Stop.
mating call I've heard. All right.
Sorry, I'm about to put my acorn in here.
Okay, so that one is the mildest tale. I told that one because it brings warmth to my heart when I think of it. I don't get scared. I just think about home.
That was
That was
poetic.
really nice.
But now this one's fucked up. Sorry, this one's effed up for the grandchildren of the soon-to-be ghosts. So this is a myth that I don't know exactly what the name of this girl is, but so in Puerto Rico, there's these mountains, right? And the roads on the mountains are very curvy because they hug the side of the mountains. And then, like, on the edge of it, there's like a big cliff because it's a mountain.
Right.
And so there's once was this accident in the 70s when my parents were young, and this girl in the neighborhood died. And she was like this little girl, and she died in the accident. Everybody else was okay, or at least survived.
Did your parents know this girl? Or like know of her?
I don't know.
So it was like a real person?
But they knew
shit.
of her.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is small, pre-internet age, so people talked.
What's
Very
that?
Catholic community, so they all went to
Never heard of
church, Very different time. And so everybody was connected, and everybody knew everybody. And this little girl is dead, okay? There was a car accident.
Okay.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening was that they started seeing her again after she died, walking along the road. And what would happen is that people would, like, swerve out of the way and then end up flying off the mountain. So this little girl was causing a lot of accidents, and people would be like, why? What happened? Like, what'd you see? Oh, I saw the little girl, And, yeah, it was like this big thing. I forget her name. See, I should have done more research. I apologize.
I was going to ask her name.
Yeah, there's definitely a name for her.
Susan.
Yeah, let's call her Marie.
That's not what I said, but we can go with Marie.
Yeah, but Susan, what kind of Puerto Rican girl's named Susan? Find a Susan.
Suzanne.
Maybe.
Susanna?
You guys need to go to Puerto Rico.
Okay, let's go.
But anyway,
I can't afford it.
Wow.
I'm
Get a
poor.
boat.
It's scary.
You can swim there. It might take a while. Anyway, so, right, the story about the little girl in the road. So what ended up happening was there was this guy who'd heard of the tales and everything, and he sees this little girl walking along the road, and he thinks to himself, like, I'm not falling for this, And so he just drives right through the ghost.
It wasn't a fucking ghost.
It wasn't a ghost.
Oh, no.
He killed a different little girl, and this was like, this was like 85 or so.
Wow.
And
bizarre.
yeah, and so added more like fodder to the legend of these little girls who die on the roads.
Wow.
That one.
That's fucked.
Oh, snap. And I just thought of another story.
Go.
This isn't a ghost story.
I love it.
But my uncle, he and actually he's living with me now. The guy I was named after, Dio Nelson. He found a body on one of these curvy roads, like a dead body just laying in a car, and that's kind of as far as the story goes.
What? You can't
Oh
do
my
that
God,
to
wow, I was
us.
high. I was like, oh my God, a dead body. I'm here for it.
And
Give me more.
then-
Sell it.
The end. No, but yeah. He tells it better because he's like, I walked up to him. I thought I'd poke him with a stick, and then you find out that he's actually dead.
So
But
what
yeah,
happened?
Nobody knows.
Somebody has to know.
I mean, he has theories.
What's his series?
Well, his theory is that he was poisoned by some gang in Puerto Rico because the gang violence is pretty bad and it's reaching the mountains. And like a few years back when I was there, actually, I remember there was this big like concern that like our rental cars that we rented from the airport would look like they're too nice, and then maybe like we'd get shot up by these like gang
wow.
people who thought
Oh.
that we
They
would
don't
be
play.
somebody else.
You should ask for a PT Cruiser.
Is that very?
It's the poor man's car. This guy-
Hey,
it sounds
if you're driving a
cruising.
PT Cruiser right now,
I'm just
you
kidding.
keep doing you.
Relax.
I'm sure you're living the life in
Yeah.
other ways.
Well, I always notice the people with really nice houses, they don't have like extravagant cars. They have normal cars.
Who?
Like,
Modest.
Okay, so in my hometown there's this place called it's like really it's like a development.
Am I gonna have to bleep this out?
And they all have normal cars, but they all have a lot of money. So it's just like
Some
Just
people
because
just
you have
don't
a
want
PT
crazy cars.
right, just because you have a PT Cruiser
Well,
doesn't mean you're poor. That's what I'm trying to
Maybe
say.
the nice cars are in the garage.
You're right.
Maybe they keep them hidden.
Or at the mountain house.
Oh.
Yeah, or hidden from the gangs.
You got another story?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, wait.
right,
I'm so
okay.
curious about you. I feel like we're gonna
That's it, the
need a
end.
follow up on it.
Oh, on the dead guy?
Yeah.
He's still
Right now.
dead. I don't know if
Well,
he turned
I'm
into
sure.
a ghost. It may have been an upsetting death, seeing as he was still in his car, right? I wonder how
He could have
went.
had a heart attack.
And then just.
Could have been.
But he wasn't from the town. Nobody knew. Anyway, yeah, he found this dead body. Should have asked him. Apparently, my uncle has ghost stories too, and I never asked him.
Damn it.
I know.
Nelson.
All right, hold on. Listen. Oh, this one's good. Hey, no, stop looking.
I was going to turn your volume off.
Oh, good call. I'm so sorry. That was
Yeah,
really
Nelson
rude.
actually just got an iPhone. Congratulations.
Like,
Thank
literally
you.
2018 just got one. I love that.
Thanks. I had a Windows phone before this.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't bad. I just
Go
always
PC.
I was always
You should
texting
put
you with the
case on
green
that.
text. Yeah, you need an OtterBox.
I ordered a
Oh,
case,
good, good.
and it's custom, so there's a pretty picture on the back.
I love that.
Oh, it's gonna be great. Oh my god. Oh,
So your next story?
sorry. Anyway, as I was saying, I get really excited about these cases, and cakes.
These cakes.
I was thinking about your cakes.
Like an ass?
All right, listen. Here's the story. Okay, so this one is about. Okay, I'll save the really freaky one. This one is so there's a myth in Puerto Rico that says because back in the day, way back in the day, there was no like faith in the banks, right? So if
Okay.
you had a lot of money, what you would do is you'd like bury it somewhere, and not tell anybody, and you'd bury it next to a tree. And say if you died and you didn't have access to get to your money and give it to a family member or whatever, you would visit them in a dream and tell them
Where the tree is.
where the tree is.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's like a myth, right? This was in 1970 or 80, something when my parents were still small, and one of my great aunt, would it be my great aunt? Some old lady in my family
Word.
was found dead. Well, sorry, she was found catatonic.
Some old lady.
Yeah, I'd never met her. I didn't know her.
Okay.
I didn't do the research to get the name. I just remember this story. But she was found catatonic in the forest.
Oh, no.
And she was just laying there, and they took her to the hospital, and she didn't say much and died. So it was over a course of a week. Anyway, everybody wondered what the hell happened to Titi.
Yeah.
What happened? So they believe, because only about a week before, her husband had died. So they believed that her husband, and it was a tragic death. It came out of nowhere. So they believed that he came into her dreams and told her where the tree was.
Oh, wow.
But this is the thing about when you can't just, wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh shit, I know where the money is. I'm going to go with my shovel and blah, blah, blah. I'm rich,
Right.
What you had to do was leave at midnight. So it had to be dark. And then go to the tree, and no matter what you heard, you couldn't turn around.
Oh,
no,
I'm
thank
good.
you.
All for money. I'm okay.
Yeah, but it could be a lot of money.
Yeah, I was gonna say, girl, no, maybe I would
I'm
do
okay.
it. Maybe I
What
would
if your
do
daddy
it.
worked real hard for this money?
Yeah, I want daddy's money.
I know you do.
I would go out there with my shovel.
I want mommy's money.
I bet you do.
Either way, you're both getting spanked.
That's fine
So
with me.
By the
your
spirits.
dead aunt. I'm sorry about that.
Right, yeah, no, yeah, she did. I don't know what happened to her. It might have been. I don't know, because that's the interesting thing. Nobody has ever told me. I'm always like, what happens if you turn around? They're like, well, nobody
Oh my
knows.
God, she
no one
did.
ever turned around.
She may have
She
turned
may have.
around
Oh,
and then
shit.
died of fear or something. Because there were no marks on her, and she was still alive for like a week or so.
Wow.
Apparently comas run in the family. Because here's the next story.
Oh God, that was a great segue.
Thank you.
Amazing. Congrats.
Because this is the freakiest story of all the stories. Because my grandfather told it to me, and my grandfather is a stout atheist, and right now he actually thinks Donald Trump is the Antichrist. And I said,
He's
sure
not
is.
alone.
I was like, but dog, I thought you didn't believe in this stuff, and he was like, well,
I do now.
but like he's written stories and on how he became an unbeliever. He describes it, and in Puerto Rico, very Catholic, especially back then. He was kind of different, seen as different for not believing and everything, and he was a Freemason. So I don't know exactly what that means.
Oh, I do.
Is that some
Yikes.
creepy shit?
Is he
Yes.
still alive? Can we get an interview?
Yeah, you would
Okay.
love to talk to this man.
Wow.
Oh,
let's
hell
do
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Let's
he's
have
very
him on
bizarre.
the podcast.
But he
Ooh,
wouldn't give you a
let's have
second to
him.
talk. He'll hijack the whole conversation.
That's
I'm here
fine.
for it.
I'm
But then
here
you
for it. I
listen.
don't want to have to do anything.
Yeah, he's got a lot of interesting theories, like or
It's
I am
okay.
gonna have to edit that
Yeah.
out.
oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. No.
I can give you the background.
No, it's
He's got a
okay.
theory with some solid evidence.
That is so fine.
I'm good on that. Thanks.
okay. So,
Wow. Okay.
wait, how do we come back now? Where did you cut out? Are you cutting in
He's
now?
cutting it out at.
I'm
what
gonna
you
I'm gonna
said.
cut it out when we said, and here's Nelson Vicens.
Funny.
Thanks
funny.
for listening, guys.
All right, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm trying to keep it PG. I'm doing a pretty good job.
No,
I never
wouldn't
keep
say
it PG.
so.
It's
No.
fine.
Oh, so my grandfather,
Okay.
he was a little boy once, and now he's older. But back then he was little,
Naturally.
and he was about 5, maybe 4, maybe 6. Anyway, that's not important. What is important though is that he's a very much like a not person who believes in this kind of stuff, right? A lot of my family very religious. They're like, oh, ghosts are everywhere, you know, and he's very not. So the fact that he saw this and says that it's true makes me think that he's a good storyteller. Maybe that's it,
Maybe.
or maybe it actually
Or it's
happened.
real.
Dun dun dun. All right, so this is what happened. So he was a little boy, 4 or 5 or 6, about that age. I'm assuming that's how I picture him. Anyway, I'm stalling because I forget the next step. Anyway, no, okay. So the story goes, my grandfather was outside at his house, which is still his house, and it's like this nice house with a balcony and looking over the mountain.
Where is this?
Puerto Rico. This
Okay.
is all in Puerto Rico.
All right.
This is in Cialis, not what you're thinking.
I was literally not thinking anything.
Oh,
Same.
I'm not surprised.
Not a lot going on up here.
Oh, okay. Anyway, well, because there's like this erectile dysfunction medicine,
What is it?
Cialis. No, why am I giving you this information?
I'm saying.
Listen,
Asking
Cialis
for
is
a
the name
friend.
of the town. Anyway,
Okay.
so this is what I was gonna say. So his great grandmother at the time, so my great grandmother maybe, she was a total bitch. She was a really mean lady.
Okay.
And she was always cursing people out, and
Fair
she
enough.
was very mean to like everybody. And I don't remember what, he doesn't even remember what, but when he told me, he was like, she was, you know, going off on one of her tirades, and all of a sudden, a giant eagle comes from the sky or something, like out of nowhere. And it was all black feathers, black claws, black beak, but red eyes. And this thing just swooped in and went over to my grandmother, or my great grandmother. Maybe not that. He's not that old. Anyway, and picked her up right out of there with its giant claws and just threw her 2 stories off the balcony. And she just hit the floor hard. She was
Wait.
messed up.
Wait.
Had to be taken to the hospital, and lo and behold, she was in a coma.
Are you sure your grandfather just didn't push her and then told everybody this story?
No.
How do you know? She was
Because
a
there's
mean
more to
lady.
the story.
Oh.
Oh, did she have claw marks on her back?
You'll see it.
Oh.
You'll see.
I'll see.
Well, so this is what happened. She was in a coma, right? And she was messed up. She was in the hospital, and nobody knew what to do to get her out, you know? Because, yeah, it was a big fall, but it wasn't something that would cause somebody to just, like, you know, like just die, I guess, or just go into
I
a
feel
coma.
like maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
true stories.
She was old. She was a great-grandmother at the time. You know what? The fact that she even lived,
Yeah, where are
we
you
should,
getting?
we
like,
should
I'm
give
like,
her some props, honestly.
Jesus.
He's like, no, that wouldn't happen. No one would go in a coma for that.
Yeah, she was in casts. But anyway, so he was there for a number of the doctors who would come in and try to see what was wrong. Nobody knew what was wrong. And my very religious family was like, well, we got to bring in a priest and see what's going on, you know? And the priest comes in, starts saying some prayers, throws some holy water on her, and she goes, "Ah!" She starts freaking out.
Wait, while she's
Once-
in this coma?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well,
Oh
my
no, she
God.
got out of the coma.
By screaming.
Well,
With
by
the holy water.
With the holy water.
Right,
The holy
that's what
water
I'm
touched
saying.
Her skin, and she
And then
started
she's
screaming.
Wow.
And she was quiet for like weeks before that. And so she got messed up, and the holy water did a number on her, and they had to perform an exorcism. Yeah. Old
Okay,
school
wow.
hospital exorcism.
This
It,
went from 0 to 100.
well, it wasn't like the Exorcist, the movie.
Right.
Like, I don't think her neck went all the way around. I
Right.
don't think she was vomiting, but
They
did
actually
in one
performed
day.
it.
They performed an exorcism, 1 day exorcism, bloom, bloom, bloom. And then after that, she was so nice.
Whoa.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and one final aspect that I thought was kind of interesting is that nobody believed any of this until the exorcism thing. Then a lot of the family was like, hold on, maybe demons were involved. But my grandfather said that he saw a giant hawk, you know, like a giant eagle, this black thing, winged thing, you know.
Do you think Do you think she was evil because she had some type of tie with this demon? Because I think it's
Like they had some beef?
or something because she had
Possibly.
because it's just like how she was like that before. So
Just
it's like
mean.
yeah. So like why now is she nice? I guess so. There had to be something else pulled out. I believe.
Was she born evil? Maybe she's born with it.
Isn't that the question?
Maybe she's fucking evil.
Does free will
I love
exist?
that.
But what was I gonna say? Right. So the thing that he saw, nobody else saw it. Nobody saw it.
Who
Wow.
else was there at the time? Was there other people
There
there?
was a lot of people
Okay,
there.
so then if they didn't see it, what did they see happen? Like,
What
did
they
they see her
saw-
fall?
They saw her fall. They saw something lift her, but it was like invisible. So
I see.
so they
she
started
was, like in thin air.
yeah, like in thin air, rising. Like, you know, some people were saying, like my grandfather was saying that some of them were like, oh, she jumped. But my grandfather was like, hell no.
I saw.
Yeah, like he saw. And not only that, even if she wasn't, like if the thing wasn't visible, like some of them claim, like, you know, my grandma doesn't have hops like that, you know, or my great grandma, you know. Anyway, so he was saying this stuff, and then my great aunt, I guess, or whatever the heck, went over to my grandfather and was like, hey, you know, you're not alone. I saw it too.
Ooh, plot
But
twist.
some of these things only the eyes of the innocent can see, and that's
Wow.
why not everybody can see them. But
Whoa!
don't make it into a big thing, you know, because she was alive for. She made it to 106. I've met my great aunt.
Wow.
Like, she's the sweetest lady, and super very religious, and so it's kind of interesting that she would be the one that was like, you know, only the innocent, because she was the
Mean.
sweetest. No, I'm talking about my
No,
great
no,
aunt.
the,
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I never met that old
Oh,
lady.
right.
She was old. She was much older.
Oh, right,
it was your grandfather's great grandma.
Got it.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah,
And
Yeah,
your
so
aunt said that
she's
only the
definitely
innocent.
Well, my great aunt, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, my grandfather's aunt. What would you even call this?
if it's your grandfather's aunt,
Yeah.
Great aunt.
so that would be your great aunt, or would that be great aunt once removed?
Why is the once removed?
Because it's your, or is it twice removed?
We're all in the family.
Well, it's fine.
Well, removed would be like my mom's first cousin is my second cousin first removed. Can someone email us at odditiespodcast@gmail.com and figure out his family tree for us? That would be great.
Yeah, actually, that'd be a project.
Yeah, thank you.
They were Catholic. They humped like bunnies.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Hopefully not each other.
Oh, sure.
Jesus Christ.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Wow. Do you have another story for us?
Yeah. Well, that was kind of the big one.
Okay.
But like, I have some stuff that happened to me.
Yeah, give it to us.
Well, so okay, this one is a little bizarre. I love my bunny. John, you met my bunny?
No, I don't think so actually. I know you have a hutch outside.
Yeah. Well, that's been destroyed recently, actually.
Okay.
I
By
thought about
what?
my fists.
Anyway,
Anyway, yeah, sorry. So basically, I love my bunny. I still do. It's been a long time, but he taught me a lot of things about
I love
not
that.
only human nature, but animal nature and just existence itself. Love. You know, he died of a broken heart.
I feel like
'Cause
I'm watching Arthur right now.
I used to love Arthur because
Okay,
his
see?
friend was a bunny.
So you're
He's a
So you're a bunny fanatic.
all right. Let's stay focused here.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, I love Mr. Bunny, and he died, and it was okay. I held him in my arms as it happened, and about a year after he died, I had a dream, and in the dream, he was my homie again, and he was hanging out with me, and and in the dream he had already died, but he was back, and I was like, oh my god, this is great, like, oh, my bunny's back, you know, and like he was playing with me, we're playing, and he goes outside, and I'm following him outside, you know, and he like was hopping, and I was following him, and then like, you know, I lost track of him, and I was looking through the woods, I live in the forest, and I was looking, and I couldn't find him, and then I realized that I was standing in the same spot where I buried him, and
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah. and I don't know at what point in that moment I woke up, but like I was awake. Unless my entire life since then has been a dream. I don't know when the dream started and when the
Wait. So did you woke up outside?
Yeah.
Or like you came to consciousness
Wow.
outside?
I came to consciousness outside, but like the thing is there was no clear transition
Right, of
so,
when you woke up and when
so
you...
I you know, I don't know. I still say he visited me in a dream because I would think it's crazy if he visited me in real life. But I still never forgot like being like, holy shit, Mr. Bunny came back to see me.
And then took you to his grave.
I love that.
That's cute.
Yeah, and it had been a while since I thought about him, so I think he was maybe like, hey, bro, like, yo, I was
Remember
like,
me?
best
Still
friend.
here.
Yeah.
Hey.
Come visit. Oh, he just wanted to be visited.
I visited him. Now I because of that I visit him more often because
Oh, that's nice.
you know because I don't want a fucking freaky dream where a
Right.
bunny chases me again.
How old were you when he died then? Was this recently?
21, 20. No, hold on a second. No, I was not. I was 19 when he died.
Oh,
And I was like 21 when the dream happened.
Oh, wow.
cute.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was after college. I remember that. But so I had a visit with a
Ghost bunny.
ghost.
Well, we haven't had any
Ghost bunny.
ghost bunny
Yeah.
stories on this podcast, so that's pretty awesome.
yeah.
I love that.
But in
Yeah.
terms of scary stories, I have one. This one is a little bizarre, because I don't know what happened, and it could have been real. It could have been no ghosts involved, or it could have been a ghost, or it could have been a crying, dying baby.
Okay. You got me with that log line.
Sorry.
What an elevator pitch.
Yeah, a few years ago when I was in high school, well, many years ago now.
I was gonna say shit. Who you kidding?
Holy shit! Like a decade ago.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, so a decade ago, I'm telling stories about a decade ago. I'm getting old.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were climbing schools in the middle of the night, like parkour, because we got into parkour, you know? You know what
Right.
that is, like
Yeah.
parkour. Yeah. And so we were jumping and hopping and having fun and doing illegal things. And we went to, name dropping like my life here. But
That's all right. I can bleep it out. Do you want me to?
No, it's okay. I
Okay.
kind of like the idea of a stalker.
Anyway.
Oh right, she's behind me. I already have one. Anyways,
That's how I pointed at her.
so we were climbing, and we go over to the library, and we looked over the window, like down into the room, and because I
Was the librarian a fucking alien? Because I will lose my shit. I have a theory about that.
really,
Yeah.
that all librarians are aliens.
I think so ever since I saw that first episode of Goosebumps.
Oh, that is a freaky episode.
And that book that's like My Teacher's an Alien. They were pretty straightforward with that title.
We all knew what it was.
But yeah, I was called to that window because I heard like this whimpering sound, and you know, I went over, and my friends were farther back, and I was like, yo, what is this? It sounds like a baby crying. And I called them over, and they couldn't hear anything, and they were like, I'm not sure.
Whoa.
Yeah, they were like, and I could understand why they couldn't hear it. I was like, maybe I am hearing things, you know, it's machinery, something in the air conditioning vents, whatever. And then as we were walking away, we heard it. And it was full on baby crying. No mistake about it. We went back to the window. We're looking all over that library to see where this baby was, to see if a mama was going to come and squash it. Or, tell it to be quiet.
Right.
Sorry, whatever you do
Okay,
to
wait,
babies.
hold on. Were you hearing it like within the building, like
Yeah.
inside?
No, in the building. In
the library.
Probably the library.
Okay.
I think it was the library. I mean, maybe it was a baby. No, I don't know. It was just one of those moments where like you're like, is that what I hear? Do I think that? Like, you ever have that moment? Like,
Yeah.
you're camping and you perk up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh my god, how close is that coyote?
No, I don't go camping.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe in.
He goes glamping.
Thanks.
Glamping is great though. I love.
Look,
glamping.
love nature, but like if we were supposed to be out there in tents and shit, God would have never invented houses. So that's my 2 cents on
Yeah, well,
camping.
God didn't create houses, man did. Anyway, yeah. So
Wow.
then we ran away.
Ghost
really
baby.
fucking scared.
Ghost baby. That's
Wow, that's
scary.
creepy.
A ghost baby. I think it was a real baby, and the librarian went to the bathroom, and it was at that precise moment that.
How late was it though? Like, why would a librarian?
That's a good point. It was like 3 a.m., so it is freaky. It was really weird.
Why would a librarian bring their baby to the fiction center too? Like, why are you? Maybe to read books? I don't know. That seems.
I don't know.
Well,
I
were
got
the
no
lights out?
answers.
Were the lights out in the library?
Lights were out.
Why would somebody
Yeah.
be in there?
Yeah, no.
That's a good point. This is some freaky shit.
Ghost baby.
Clearly, it weirded you out because you remember a whole decade later.
Yeah, no, that was the scare. That was one of the scare, and we were all there for it. That's the thing, is that we
Right.
were all like, "Yo, that's
What the fuck?
definitely a baby crying. Like, what is going on?" You know, like, and yeah, we just ran away at that point. We were doing something illegal, so.
Speaking of doing things illegal and running away, I have one more story that just popped into my head. So we're filming it's a horror movie that we're filming.
Oh my God.
So I'm assistant directing, and Nelson is again director of photography.
Double penetration.
And we're filming. Hey Kevin, if you're listening to this, Kevin, my friend Kevin, how you doing?
Sorry.
He had a film, and at some point,
It's called Prey. In case you want to Google it.
at some point in it, there's blood and guts and stuff on the ground, and the set of it is under a train station, like under the train tracks. So we're filming illegally at a train station really, really late at night. And we had checked the train schedule to make sure no trains were coming. And I had my concerns. And, if things happen, guess who's to answer? That's me.
It's you.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, John.
So
Thank you, John.
I had my concerns
Sorry.
with what we were about to do, but basically there was going to be a dead man on the ground. It was an actor. He wasn't dead. We did pay him. And
He looked dead, though.
he did, because we
Blood and
smothered
guts.
him in blood and guts all over the ground underneath these train tracks. Well, then we hear a train arrive at the fucking train stop right above us. And what does everybody do? Fucking books it and leaves me there with blood on me and fucking guts in the
Love
middle of the.
that.
So that day I learned who my real friends are.
I'm
and
sorry,
And it's
John.
not these people
in a
sitting here, but
scenario.
it's me. It's me.
Yeah, I remember.
Y'all booked it like dead ass, dead ass left me red-handed because I
Jared
had
and I still talk
I
about
had
this.
blood on me. And I was trying to there was no way I could clean it up. It was like a shit ton of blood on concrete. So I was like, what do I do? It was stuck to my shoes. It was on my clothes. And I was just standing there. I was like, this is it. Like, somebody's going to come down here. And I was like in the middle. We were right in the middle. So y'all booked it one way and I didn't know which way the train was going to empty the people off.
This was one of those crisis scenarios where you realized your true character.
Yeah.
Because in that moment,
I don't think I would
turned to
do-
Jared and we didn't even say anything to each other. We just looked at each other and we just left it.
Left
With the
me.
camera, too.
Yeah.
With the only piece of evidence that proves you're not just
Innocence, right?
slicing
And you
people
guys
up.
were probably like formatting the card, like deleting everything.
Now that would be truly a crime right there.
Yes, it would. Okay, so we have got some questions for you. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Why has everybody
so-
got their computers out
Because
now?
we have some questions for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So first question. Actually, Sarah, why don't you ask the first question?
I'm not ready.
Why didn't you tell me there would be questions? I could have prepared for them.
They're just like regular, like
SAT
that
questions. Like, it's fine.
Like you have to do math and shit.
I'm good at geometry.
Have you ever played with a Ouija board?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Well, this reminds me of a story. Can I
Okay.
tell the story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Did anybody watch Ghost Rider? Do you remember
No.
Ghost Rider?
No.
This is in the 90s. Never mind.
Like the movie? Or the
Ghost Rider?
No, Ghost Writer.
like writing? No.
Like there was this show.
Was it on
Disney-
Nickelodeon?
Or Nickelodeon? I don't know. Some kids.
I'm
show.
gonna check.
Yeah, go check. Because my sister loved this show, and it was this show that basically was about a ghost that would write, and that's how you would know that it was there. And I pretended to my sister that we were talking to the ghost because I put like a paper over the keyboard, and my hands were hidden.
I can't.
And I'd be like, okay, what question do you want to ask it? She'd be like, this. And then I'd type up the question, and then we'd like sit there quietly, and I would just type letter by letter, kind of like hidden. And then she was like, oh my God. And she was
So
freaking
funny.
out. So I did the same thing with Ouija boards.
Okay, so you're that friend that I don't like to.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So, and it was actually, it
Do
started
you
on,
want someone dead? Yes.
it was on PBS.
Oh, so you know the show?
No, I am on Wikipedia.
Oh, fuck. It was real.
Yeah. All right. So your next question is: are you superstitious?
You know what? I believe in forces. I believe in energy, and I believe that those the molecules that make up these energies, these forces, they can be interpreted as spirits, because I think science is not well equipped to handle how to talk about these strange things that happen. But I think they do happen, and I think there is an energy, and I am, I guess, maybe spiritual.
Okay, not my question. If there's a ladder, are you walking under it?
Is that what superstitious means?
Yes, it is.
What does superstitious mean?
It's like, do you believe in 7 years of bad luck if you break a mirror?
Do you
Oh
throw
my
salt
God.
over
I'm
your
not asking
shoulder?
if you're spiritual.
No. Oh, okay. Never mind. So
No,
superstition.
it's okay. You're
so
just
you know what I do with
stupid.
superstitions?
Yeah.
I'm super stupid. No, I might be though, because I've walked under many what are they called, ladders, and when I do it, I don't care. And on top of that, I've broken mirrors, and every time I throw a rock at a mirror, I think to myself, like, that's more years. So I'm like, bring it on, like black cats, I'll kick them. I don't care.
Don't.
I'm just letting everybody know he's joking with that because he has a cat and he loves.
I do love
his
cats,
cat.
but I would kick a black dog, like a little teeny black dog. I would kick one of those things, like a little chihuahua,
like football style. Okay,
Field
so
goal.
you're not superstitious. You don't.
No,
buy
not
it.
at all. I think that's a
Okay.
bunch of bullshit.
Okay, so what if I tell you that you've been breaking all these mirrors and you're literally just living in your bad luck right now?
That would explain a lot.
It would. She's nodding.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so you're in a horror movie.
Uh-huh.
Are you the final girl, the first to die, the comedic relief, the skeptic, the smart one, or the killer? You're def the killer.
Well, first of all, the whole time I was like, all right, are they going to say killer? Are they going to say killer? Are they going to... Okay, you said it. Now I don't want to be it.
Oh, okay.
But that being said, I don't know. I don't want to be a killer, but if it's the movie, hell fucking yeah.
I think you might be,
I'm the skeptic. Is that a one? Was that one?
yeah.
I'll be the skeptic. Can I be the skeptic?
You can be whatever you
Sure.
want.
Can I be
to.
the skeptic killer who's the friend that ends up actually not...
That's the evil twin.
No,
love
but
that,
dating
yeah.
the final girl. So, like, it was just to destroy all the competition. So the final girl is mine or she dies. That kind of a thing.
Okay.
Whoa, okay.
I like that.
I think we just made a movie.
Sweet.
Thanks, guys. Come and see it. Come into a theater near you. All right. So
Pornhub.com.
you are given the death penalty. What is your last meal?
Okay. I was thinking some nasty stuff. Who's involved here? Is it...
It's you in jail.
It's
Last
just me.
meal.
I can't
You're
call
on death
anybody
row. No.
No.
for my meal?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, it's just imagine it appearing before your eyes. Don't worry about how you're gonna get it.
Well, I keep thinking of one thing.
Oh, he wants pussy as his last meal.
No!
Oh.
Buttholes.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. No, okay, what final meal? I don't know. Why would you want to eat? Do you have to eat? I guess would
No,
you eat?
You can deny a meal. People have
Would you
done
be
that.
salty to the end, or would you be like, "Oh, this is my last final thing"? Like, would you want to enjoy something? I wonder.
Well, is it beach season?
Okay, my last meal is a whole fucking seafood platter. I want crab legs. I want lobster tail. That's my last meal.
I love it.
That sounds good.
So what's your last meal?
Pussy.
I love
Is that
that.
possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Pussy's
possible?
your last meal.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
Next question.
All right. Wow. Which urban legend scares you the most, or scared you the most as a child?
If any.
You know those scary stories to tell in the dark books?
Yeah.
Those are so great.
They
love
are
those.
fantastic.
Oh my god. Basically any time that I flip open that book now or see one of the images, I'm like, oh, that's the story that horrified me. But you know which one messes me up?
Was it the big toe?
Yo, I was thinking about the big toe when I was thinking about this, but
Yeah.
no. Do you remember the one about the guy who looks out the window and it's like a brick wall?
No.
I hate when people look at me through windows. I think it's the creepiest shit ever.
Really? People look at you through windows?
I'm saying, like, have you ever seen those Michael Myers movies where he's like looking at people through a window?
You mean like you're chilling in your living room and there's
Yeah.
people looking at
It
you?
has literally happened to us before in our old apartment. Yeah.
And I screamed very loud.
Not only that, but he like was talking to us through our window.
What did he want?
Drugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we lived in the trap.
That makes sense.
You were at the house.
Yeah, you knew where
I
we
don't-
lived.
You took my socks.
No, it was Halloween 2000.
I took your socks?
You left my socks there. Oh, I left my socks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Where was that story going?
Sorry.
You would make an awful fucking
no,
lawyer.
you know what's even worse? I left someone else's socks. I borrowed them and lost them, and then he got mad because I...
Right, and then do you remember I washed them, brought them back, we filmed with them, and then you lost them again?
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, because you were like, John, can you bring them back? I said, dude, I already did. I literally
shit.
laundered them.
You know what? My buddy is still mad at me because I also took his towel once, and it had his name on it, and I didn't even realize it for like a year and a half.
Fucked up, Nelson.
Jesus Christ. Okay, would you? I have a question for you, and I don't know how you're going to answer it.
Uh-oh.
Would you
Yes.
sleep
Yes.
inside of a coffin for a night? It's not buried.
What do I
It's
get?
above ground. Just the thrill of it.
That doesn't seem very thrilling.
Would you or wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, if there's nothing to be gained from it except the tale itself...
$10. Do I hear $12? $12.50.
20? I would do it for $20.
You would sleep in
Wait,
it.
wait. Can I put a blanket in there and have...
You can put whatever in there, but it's like the
How many
size of
people
it's the
fit in
size
there?
of a normal coffin. So it's
I'm
a
not
onesie.
familiar with coffins.
It's a onesie
Oh, you know what? That could be kind of cool though, just for inspiration.
to sleep in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe I'd do it. Am I buried under there?
Okay, so let's say.
Can I be buried? How long? How much air
all
do
right,
you have?
hold on.
Sorry,
Let's
sorry.
say you have plenty of air to breathe. That's not an issue. You're not buried. You would do it, yeah, for $20.
Yeah, I'd do it now. Now I'm thinking about it. I'd do it for the experience alone.
All right, so let's say we bury it, and you still have enough air
Yeah, or a straw.
or a straw.
Yeah, and a bell. They used to have that. The bells. You know, I could maybe just cling, cling, cling. Let me out. I don't need the money.
You piss off a lot of people because I feel like you would be like, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I'd be
right.
scaring people. I just remembered another scary story.
Okay, give it to me.
No, it's real fast.
Oh fuck.
You wanted something long. No, no.
Always.
So real quick, this is no, the one, it was one of the stories where the little girl, she had to stab a knife into the grave. She was dared to stab a knife into a grave, and then she stabs it, but the skeleton is grabbing onto, and she dies of fright. But it turns out that she stabbed her dress.
Oh yeah, I
And she
heard of
gets
that one.
stuck, and then-
I think that was one of the stories.
That one, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That was just it's
Spooky.
All
All right,
spooky.
Sarah.
Spooky.
What is your favorite horror monster or killer?
That's a good question. The Babadook recently has
Oh
been
my god,
like
the Babadook
the
is
Babadook is really cool. Yeah.
Did
But
you
you
see
know-
that? Hold on, maybe you didn't see it, but
Tell me.
he became like a gay icon.
The Babadook?
Yes. And
So
what was
here's
the
what
thing?
happened.
Why?
It was
Because
like
of his hat?
So here's what happened. Netflix accidentally put it on as like their
the
leading
gay,
LGBT
lesbian,
lesbian movie. So everybody was like, "Get the Baba Luke." So they were like dressing up like, "Get the Baba Luke."
Yes.
Oh my
love
god.
that.
Yeah, so he was like a gay icon, and I think it was last year, like
Yeah,
at DragCon,
2000.
everybody was dressed like a super
Babadook.
gay Babadook.
Love
I will
that.
show you pictures. It's great.
Amazing.
Stylish.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Wow. I'm glad that movie was used for good.
Yeah, I think it was really used for good. Okay.
So these are just rapid fire questions.
Oh, these
Okay.
were supposed to be rapid fire.
No, these next ones are.
These next
Oh,
ones are.
jeez. How much time do I have? I'm ready.
It's not timed.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town?
What's Halloween Town?
Oh, fucking A.
Well,
Next
Hocus
question.
Pocus-
Wouldn't know
First
it.
of all, Hocus Pocus for sure.
Okay, cool. No further questions. Salem the cat or Binks the cat?
Binks. Definitely.
Skittles or Starburst?
Scuttleburst.
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 You
Damn,
got-
these are two good ones.
You got to pick one.
All right, fucking Skittles with the burst in them.
You got to pick one.
With the Scarburst. Skittles. Wait, hold on. Skittles.
Skittlebugs.
I want Skittles with stars.
All right.
Haunted house or haunted hayride?
Oh, haunted house.
Love that.
Would you rather be attacked by a werewolf or a vampire?
I guess a vampire because that sounds a little sexy. And then I become a vampire, and then I have forever.
True.
Murder weapon of choice.
Well, I guess my hands.
I knew you were gonna say your hands.
That sounds
I was
nice
about
to
to say
choke somebody
these
out.
hands.
Yo, how about these hands?
All right. So who is your I'm afraid of this answer. Okay.
It's him.
Who is your favorite serial killer and why? Or who do you find the most intriguing?
Well, favorite is really that's messed up. That word I've had trouble with that word because
Who do you find the most intriguing?
interesting. Yeah,
Okay.
okay, I like
Interesting.
That. That's better. He rolled with a guy named Otto.
Is this a Rocket Power reference?
No.
Okay.
Was there Rocket Power named Otto?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Rocket Power. I did not like Rocket Power growing up.
Leave.
I thought they were all like a bunch of
Leave.
snobs. You know what? They reminded me of the cool kids, and I wasn't cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Still aren't.
Ooh,
I'm
anyway.
working on it.
So wait. Come on. We need to answer.
Oh God, what's his name? It's like William Lee, or William. I should have this more.
Lee Lucas.
Henry Lee Lucas,
Henry Lee Lucas.
and that's another reason why I think it's Otto or Lee Harvey, because Lee.
Oh,
See,
right.
I get confused.
He's
but-
terrifying.
yeah, Henry Lee
Of
Lucas
course.
is an interesting guy.
All right.
His childhood was so fucked up. His dad, he was he had no legs,
Oh.
and his mom was like the town
And what do they
whore.
call it? Apologetic. Nope.
Amputee.
No. It's something else.
Unapologetic.
I don't know what.
Something legic.
Paraplegic.
Paraplegic.
He's a
paraplegic.
paragraph.
That means he has like missing limbs.
No, hold on. Do you want to hear the story? Because it's really quick. I'm
Yes.
just going to make it real quick. All I'm going to say, though, is that this guy didn't have any legs, had a mom who was the town whore, sex worker, and did a lot of work. And basically tormented the family, the son and the husband. And the husband died from the cold because he didn't want to go back inside to listen to the moaning and everything. And he died of
Hypothermia?
Yep. And then the Johns who would come and have their way helping the mama work, they would like show the Henry Lee Lucas little kid how to hunt and how to kill and how to skin things and also how to dress like a girl. So a lot of serial killers have had that happen to them, like the mom makes them dress like a girl. Anyway, so Henry Lee Lucas was one of them. Anyway, he ends up killing everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wow,
that's
heard
what most
that.
serial killers do.
Jesus Christ.
Freddy or Jason?
I haven't seen either of those.
Oh,
Oh,
Christ.
God. Okay.
movies.
Well, in that case, we're wrapping up now.
Well, thank
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry.
Thank
No,
you,
it's okay.
Nelson, for
Thank you
coming
For your
and
story.
yeah,
Well, I haven't
and sharing
come
your.
yet.
Oh.
All right, and with that being said,
We're going to be out.
Wait,
Thank-
hold on. I'm sorry. Thank you.
You're
so much.
welcome.
I had fun. I'm sorry
I'm
it was a little
glad.
disorganized. I should have practiced. a
Oh,
little
no,
more.
it's fine.
It's all right. It's nothing out of the ordinary for you.
Right.
Well,
And we're
thank,
making that very clear for everybody else. Don't worry.
well, thank you guys
Thank
for
you for
listening.
listening.
You know where to find us. Head on over to patreon.com/esoteric oddities and keep
Okay.
sending us your ghost stories.
Please.
Leave us a 5-star review and a nice written review on Apple Podcasts. That would be great.
With 5 stars.
Freaky.
Oh, God. Okay.
We're going to go now.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.